Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the FiveMarks Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, as always, Mr. Martin115. It's amazing when you say you're going to take a break from something and you just don't. I've been here every week so far since I said I'd taken a break. And as always, I am joined by my lovely dance partner. Introduce yourself, sir.
I've been trying to get rid of him every week since, but he just keeps coming back and back and back. I'm Cameron. Welcome back for another week.
I mean, if Emmett just came in and did like an episode every now and again, it'd be
easier.
He's going to listen to this again, like, another dig. Lads, leave me alone. But we are heading towards probably one of the biggest Hard Knox shows. And we say this every time, but like this one is just, the card is stacked. Of 2024, anyways, we can say, with the headlining match, it is champion versus champion. It is Undisputed Hard Knox World Championship match, and we are joined today by the real Hard Knox World Champion.
You know the score. You know the score, Martin.
The real Hard Knox World Champion, Terry Thatcher. Oh, and he's got
it.
Oh, so heavy. Ugh. Shit, those actually weigh a fucking ton. Yep. The real Hard Knocks Pro Wrestling Champion.
If I was any better and I meant to do it, I was going to memorize your undefeated or unbeaten and
unbeaten, unbroken, soon to be undisputed.
If I was any better, I would have done that one as well. But how are we feeling?
Good. I'm in great form now. Just had the big comeback at the OTT Rumble. Great to be back on the OTT shows, but I'm really looking forward now to March 10th. It has landed me in a little bit of hot water because I only realized afterwards it's Mother's Day.
Oh no!
Yeah. So look, we'll do a Mother's Day on the Saturday instead.
It'd be a nice way to return home though with two belts.
True, yeah, that'd be a hell of a way to come home. He's like, here you go, baby. You can have one of these.
Here, you can have the old one. I get the brand new shiny one.
Yeah.
But if you don't come back
no, it's Linda. So she'd be like, can I have the one that Sam touched?
Okay, there's the fucking snakeskin. But you said it there. Obviously, we saw a week and a bit ago now. OTT Loco Rumble, the return of Terry Thatcher, which we will get into that a little bit later on. We'll obviously do the build up to stuff like that. But like the first thing I want to ask you, 2023 was probably one of the best years for you actively when you're active. I mean, you think about the stuff with the detachment and into the breakup, Hard Knocks running things like crazy down there, showing up in Fight Factory. For you, when you were active at that time, how was it for you being like in this absolute mega fucking moment?
It was really fulfilling. In some ways, 2023 was a bit of a frustrating year for me. With just like the whole thing with the detachment. It felt like we never really got off the ground with the group. We had a couple of moments, but it was few and far between. And like before we knew it, like we all saw what happened with Noah, and it just it didn't go as well as we originally planned. But look, I'm still tight with Steve. I'm still tight with Raven. Noah can go fuck himself. But yeah, like other than that, I've loved everything I've been able to do with Hard Knocks. I was so gutted that I had to miss a couple of the shows. But I'm still very, very proud of the body of work that I've left in Hard Knocks, and hopefully continue to expand upon. And then obviously like getting getting the opportunity to work at Five Factory was it was initially it was kind of like, okay, it's a bucket list thing. I want to compete in a Fight Factory ring, and I did that um not last year, the year before. I got my first match there, and but then to come in as a kind of semi-regular and be welcomed into the locker room and be welcomed into onto the shows. It was a great feeling. It really, really was. Like they've been very good to me there. They actually like I got a personal little moment then just in December. They were running a kid show in Ballyfermot, which is just up
Yeah.
the road from me, and my girls got to come and see me wrestle. And like my eldest Orla, she'd seen me before, but it's been a long time. Like it was
Yeah.
before COVID. Would have been the last time she saw it. And she's got like sensory issues, so she's not really cool around lots of loud noise, but
Yeah.
she had a great time. She absolutely fell in love with Raven. So that's another little cool thing. And then my little one came along, and she absolutely loved it. She just wanted to get into the ring the whole time. And eventually, I won a battle royal, and the girls got to come in and pick out the raffle tickets, and it was just a really really special moment. And of course, Eve, the little one, as soon as she got in, immediately hits the ropes, drops a big leg, and Justy was the ref, and Justy's like, "Okay, I think we have something there. When will she be 16?"
I'm surprised.
just
I'm just surprised that you ended up winning that battle royal. I'm surprised she didn't come in and just toss you out.
just
But
speaking on those family shows as well, though. Like we've heard a lot of wrestlers online and even on the podcast as well talk about how much fun those family shows are. Why do you think that is that they enjoy those shows? Even yourself enjoy those shows a lot more.
I think give me 1 second. My dryer is still on.
Yeah, yeah, we're fine.
To steal a line from B Cool, edit this.
We can stop the show now.
And we're back. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the thing about the kid shows, these family shows, is it's such a relaxed atmosphere, and there's like zero pressure to go out, and like obviously we all want to go out and give the audience as good a show as we can, but there's zero pressure to go out and over deliver, or because you play to the audience that you have, and if that audience, if they're going to pop and enjoy like a body slam as much as they're going to enjoy a like corkscrew plancha to the floor, then save your bump card and just do the body slam. So it's easier on us, but it's just a good feeling when you get those kind of reactions from crowds and from kids, and they just really really love everything that you're doing, and it's so simple, but so rewarding as well to walk those kind of shows.
Do you want to add to that, Carmel?
I did have a question. I forgot what it was. I'm going to hand it back to you, Martin.
Oh,
Sorry.
perfect. So
But
I
actually, just on another point as well, I forgot to say as well,
yeah,
because a lot of us have been around for a while. We're a little bit older. Like I have kids. Um, Lots of the other lads have kids as well, so they can bring their children to the shows as well. And like speaking as a father, like it's just such a special feeling when you get to look out and see your kids in the crowd and they're loving it and they're cheering daddy and they're just really into everything. So like that's a great feeling as well.
That was actually the question I was going to ask. Do you find it easier being able to interact with the crowd when they're kind of a younger age than we'll say like at a OTT show where it's majority kind of adults and stuff?
Yeah, like it is. It is a much easier audience to perform in front of. But I think well, I know for me personally, I get I like I do like the pressure of going out and performing in front of like a a more kind of adult orientated crowd as well, because there's just something a bit more creatively fulfilling when you get to go out and really kind of push the boundaries on what you can physically do and what kind of stories you can tell. Whereas with kids crowds, it's very simplistic. It's very cheer the good guys, boo the bad guys, and just have fun. So, well, yeah, like I get as much as I get a kick out of like performing in front of the younger crowds, I do get more of a kind of personal fulfillment of being able to create to scratch that kind of creative itch when it's in front of a smarter, older crowd.
So I want to kind of focus on OTT here and the run we had from, the beginning of last year till I think it was around May, June.
Hmm.
Because, as you said earlier on, like, at that time we had the detachment with yourself, Raven Creed, Steve Savage, Noah Walker, which was dominating at the time, beginning of the year. We had Raven Creed going for the OTT Women's Championship. And then after that, it kind of dwindled a bit. But within that time, we kind of saw, if people want to call it like teaching, or what it was, trying to you were really trying to shape up Noah Walker and teach him this is the way it has to be done. Then we saw that end result. What was that like for you?
Um, it was it was frustrating. Um, and it was disappointing as well. Because like I'm disappointed that Noah would take that kind of action that he did, but I'm also kind of disappointed in myself because I wanted to set this faction up. I wanted to be a leader of a group and take some of these people that maybe hadn't gotten a fair shake yet or hadn't gotten a proper look yet. And I think like aesthetically we all fit together.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I was hoping to help elevate there because I've obviously I've been around OTT for a long time and I'm fairly established now. Raven was fairly established for a while, but then she took time away from OTT, and then having her come back as part of this group, I was hoping to kind of reestablish her, um, and then take someone like Noah and kind of introduce him to a crowd, introduce him to the OTT audience, and um, yeah, I think that's where I'm a little disappointed in myself because I think I kind of failed as a leader. I should have been, I don't know, maybe a bit more hands-on or maybe a little less hands-on, because I was look, I was going like I was in a very different headspace at the time, so I took a lot of my frustrations out on the group. Like if we failed as a group, um, I very rarely took any of that blame myself, and I pointed fingers, and that's bad out on me. But I still I never would have expected that Noah would go as far as he did. And look, peel the curtain back a little bit. I was planning to maybe take a bit of time off around June, July anyway, because my partner was gonna be going in for surgery in August. She was scheduled to go in for surgery in August, and it actually got postponed until October. The problem, why I'm more annoyed and frustrated and disappointed with Noah is no one knew that.
Yeah.
He knew that was happening, and he still went ahead and did what he did, which meant I was hurt, and I'm supposed to be the one looking after her when she's hurt and she's coming back from surgery, and Noah still went ahead and did that. So like he actively tried to make my life, not just my wrestling career, but my home life, he tried to make that a hell of a lot more difficult, and he tried to make that a hell of a lot worse. So yeah, I've feel personally assaulted, obviously physically assaulted, but like it's more than that. It reaches deeper than that because again, we were a group. I assumed we were friends, and I confide in the group with things that I was going through. And leading up to that match with Scotty, I think I posted
You
something
did, yeah.
on Twitter. As far as I remember, I posted something. I explained where I was at. I didn't officially say I was going to be taking time off, but I kind of made that decision anyway. And then for Noah to do that, and that essentially meant I was gone for longer.
Yeah.
So, the whole thing with Noah, on like on a visual thing, it's like, oh, he took my braces. No, he didn't just take my braces. He took time from me. He took 6 months from me. He took my pride from me. And he betrayed my trust. So, that's the whole point. That's this. When it comes to me and Noah, it is on site. It is. When I see him, I feel compelled to punch him in the face, and punch him in the face as many times as I physically can without before I break my hand. And so, like, I'm getting a lot of questions about like, oh, well, Terry, why did you eliminate yourself in the Rumble? Well, that's why. Because I'm not finished with him yet. Eliminating him from the Rumble, yeah, big deal. And like, fair enough. Like I've got that part of my head where it's like, yeah, well, Terry, you could have stuck around. You could have stayed in the Rumble. Maybe you would have won it. You could have went on to Scrappermania. Yeah, maybe I could have, or maybe I could have been, one of the various runners-ups. I like to think that I deal in absolutes and not maybes. So I figured I'll get Noah out of there, and just like I said, I'm just gonna keep hitting him. And it just so happened that, that I happened to jump over the top rope. Like, yeah, look, there'll be another Rumble. Maybe I'll try again. But this thing with me and Noah, I won't be able to move forward, particularly in OTT. I won't be able to move forward until I settle that first.
Was
And
it? Was it?
hopefully sometime soon, we'll get it in the ring. If not, I'll save my training. If not, I'll find where he lives. If not, I'll just, I don't know, I'll find him some way.
But it's on site.
Absolutely.
Was it hard for that 6 months that you were out, just knowing that you couldn't get your hands on him? And then I suppose that emotion of entering the Rumble and being like, he's here in front of me, I'm after him.
Yeah, it was kind of difficult. Like, I know he didn't get an awful lot of matches around in that time period, but like, I was still I was keeping up to date, and like just even the idea, like I said, it's not about the braces. I mean, I've got those braces, like they're a fiver off of Amazon. Like, it's not about the braces, but like he's walking around with them like they're a trophy.
Yeah.
Like, look what I did. That's a start. That's just a reminder of like what he did. And I've like as I said, like it was a personal attack on me to take them as well, and then walk around like again, like it's a trophy. It was very frustrating. It's very frustrating to see that.
And,
But yeah, like,
and look, not like, keep on this, but I just, for the people questioning why you did what you did at the Rumble, I mean, like, put yourself like in your shoes. You put out the tweet being like, look, this is what's happening. I don't like the fact that my two little ones look at me in a bad light because I'm a bad guy. I'm changing that. The detachment, it's gone. I'm changing things up. I'm doing something different. I want them to see me as their hero. Go into this absolutely brutal match with Scotty Davis, which I want to talk about that match in a little bit. And then after you've literally put your heart out on social media, you have someone you consider a friend, a brother, put you on the shelf. anybody who, like, sees this happening after you've just poured your heart out to this person would have done the same thing. And nobody can say they wouldn't put their family first over world titles.
Oh, absolutely. Like again, I don't know. I was compelled to do it, and I don't regret it. I am not sorry for it. I'm sorry if anybody, like certain people wanted to say it, like if they were hoping that I was gonna come back, and certain people were hoping that maybe I might have stayed in or I might have won the Rumble or whatever. But like, fuck it, I won the Mad Bastard Award. I'm happy with that.
Now, I do, like, without the ending that we got, I want to talk about that Scotty Davis match at the draw, because that was brutal.
Yeah, yeah. Me and Scotty, we've got a history. Yeah, like he's a very different animal than he was when we force wrestled back in 2018. Very, very different animal. And look, he caught me off guard on that night. I was expecting on a match. It was more of a mugging. Yeah, caught me off guard with that fourth shot, and it was an uphill battle from then. And look, hands up, he was a better man on that night. He certainly was. Yeah, he like I said, he caught me off guard. Not making excuses or anything, because as I said, we've had a history. I've beaten him once, but like he's evolved so much since then, that it's 3-1 now when it comes to me and Scotty Davis. So like I don't know if and when we'll ever be in the ring together again, but I'm a hell of a lot more aware of who this new version of Scotty Davis is after that match.
If that match ever gets booked again, could you give me a heads up so I don't book the first 3 rows?
Yeah. I'll just as I'm hitting the ropes, I just Martin Miller.
I didn't realize that night. Jesus Christ, Terry's fast. It was literally like, oh yes, oh shit, caught you in the dive.
It's one of those though, you can't give a guy like Scotty Davis a second. Like, and like you watch that match back, and it's only about like 10 minutes long or something like that. And I would say comfortably about 8.5 of those minutes are just Scotty beating the absolute fuck out of me. So if I found an opening, I couldn't give him a second. I had to dive out on him. So I do apologize if I landed in your lap or broke your phone or anything like that. But yeah.
I can tell you now, it was the coolest fucking moment. So afterwards, I was like, "Let's go again." Well, I want to move on
to be part of it.
Actually, before I move on, Carmo, is there anything you want to throw in?
There's actually one last OTT thing that I kind of want to talk about just before you move on. You obviously returned at the Loco Rumble. How was it getting ready for that big return? And what was your reaction as you stepped through that curtain and saw the crowd reaction?
It was lonely getting ready because I was kind of sequestered off away from everybody else. Just so there wasn't any surprises leaked or just so like I didn't bump into Noah. So I was kind of like off in my own in a separate little room. But walking through that crowd with the new music, and I know a few of the lads like I'd used it in a couple of like at the last Hard Knox shop. So some people were aware of what it was, but not everybody copped it. So once my name came up on the screen, and hearing that reaction it kind of took me back for a second. It was like really kind of took me back. But then I saw him, saw him in the ring, and it was like it was back on. Uh, so I did. I took a second to appreciate it, but all I could take was a second because like there's that prick that fucking that did this to me. So like, but it was weird watching it back though because I don't think the camera did it justice, or at least it felt like it was louder when I was there.
I keep saying
Um,
this with shows. You have to be there because it's just the cameras don't do it justice with
mm.
anything.
Although I love that new floating camera. That was
Yeah.
a
Very
cool
cool.
little aspect. Thought that was really cool looking.
So I want to move on to. You could say it's more of a positive, happy ending on a teaching story. Let's go to Terry Thatcher and Fight Factory with CBL.
Hmm.
Obviously, you two had at the time CBL had his losing streak going on, and you two had your first one-on-one exchange with yourself going over. I think you were surprised that night, if I'm right. I might be wrong. Um, but then afterwards, you caught him. You said, "Look, don't be down on your luck," and you stepped into kind of again like a mentoring role. And then
Hmm.
you were supposed to have that Grapple Games qualifier, which obviously didn't happen. But you got to see CBL go on to win the Irish Junior Heavyweight Championship. For you, wrestling him, being a mentor, and then seeing him do that, how was that for you?
It was no, it was really really cool. I was so delighted for him that like he's kind of he's gotten out of his own way because that's like anytime we were around each other, I kept trying to reiterate that with him that like as much as wrestling is a physical game, it's just as much a mental game. And if you start like, and I've been there where you know one loss it leads to two, leads to four, leads to six, and like you really start getting into like a bit of a tailspin then when you start um dwelling on those losses. But like a dude like CBL is he's so so incredibly talented. Like being in the ring with him, and he genuinely like he reminds me of Sheamus.
Mm.
Like the way he moves and how hard he hits, he reminds me of Sheamus. But yeah, I was so happy for him getting that moment because like nobody in Fight Factory works harder than CBL. He's still, I know he's out injured at the minute, but like he's still there all the time. Like he's still showing up and again, like I was saying about like it's just as much a mental game. You can learn so much from just sitting in on a training class and picking people's brains, than you can from actually, getting in and being on the mats. But um we do have some unfinished business when
Yeah.
like as much as I like CBL and like we're buds and all, there is a professional rivalry, we'll say,
Yeah.
and there is some unfinished business. Like we were supposed to have that rematch. Um, when that rematch happens, I don't know, but hopefully it'll be soon. Hopefully it will be a little bit more interesting because hopefully the Irish Junior Heavyweight Championship will be on the line. And I said earlier about going to Fight Factory was a bit of a bucket list for me, for getting to wrestle in that ring. But those now that I've done that, my goal has changed a little. I'd like to get my hands on the Irish Junior Heavyweight Championship. I think it's one of the most historic and valued championships on this island. The list of names that of people that have held it and then gone on to even bigger stages, like the likes of Jordan, the likes of Aoife, the likes of LJ, um, and the current crop then with like Steers and Fabio, and now CBL, and like Jesus, even Leighton Buzzard, shit, I forgot.
Yeah.
He had for a time then as well. So that's a stamp of approval. Now, I'm pretty sure the last time we were doing this, I don't know if I said it, but like I don't have aspirations to move on to another country or move on to the big stages or anything like that. This is my home. This is where I'm always gonna be here. I've always been here. I've been here since very early. So I'm always gonna be part of the Irish scene. This is where my family is. I don't have any intentions of uprooting them and moving them across the country, across the world, or anything like that. So this is my home, and a championship like that on this island, I'd love to throw my name down on that list as well.
Yeah.
It is a prestigious title. Like, it's one of the, that's what's most famous. Not even in this country, nearly in Europe at this rate. Like, it's that important. Like, so to add that to your resume would be huge. In fairness.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I would. I'd love to just be a part of that lineage.
Can I throw
But we see
something
what
out?
happens.
Have you anything else to ask about Five Factory? Because I was going to move on to Hard.
No, move on to Hard Knocks away.
Perfect. We'll move on to Hard Knocks. I want to come back to your return match in Hard Knocks, where you really came out as a surprise. Nobody knew that you were there.
Yeah.
Not a person. But to talk about that return and also your match with Keane Noonan.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily like a last minute thing. We kept it very close to the vest though. Obviously, like we wanted to keep it as much as a surprise as possible. Like I almost got caught on the way down. Some of the guys were coming down, and we happened to stop at the same garage. And just as I'm getting out of the car, it's like, oh shit, put up, glasses on, big mug of coffee covering the rest of my face. Try it. I don't think they noticed, but look, I still got a massive pop. Again, just that slight little change, that change in music, meant that even when I was coming out, nobody was expecting it to be me. I was delighted though to be back in Hard Knocks. I really did the whole time I've been off. I missed being there, and the welcome that I got from the fans was amazing, but the welcome that I got from the locker room was almost as good, like from just all the lads just coming up to me and like asking how family life was going, because they're like everyone was aware what had gone on at that point. So yeah, it was really, really touching. It was very nice. And just so many of them just like great to have you back. And I felt really appreciated. It was like I really appreciated everybody showing appreciation to me. As far as the match goes, like, Keane's one of those. He's one for the future. Like, I had one of his early matches with him on an OTT skill show or contender show. It was one or the other.
Yeah.
And he was, I could tell then, like, this guy is good. He's good now, and he's only gonna get better. And from the time we had our first match up to the match in Hard Knocks, he had improved so much since then. And I was delighted to be back in the ring, and delighted to have an opponent on the caliber of Keane Noonan. Sorry. Yeah, no, I felt myself I was maybe a step or two behind. But you know, that's to be expected when you take that kind of time off. And Keane's he's a cardio machine. So like I was in for a busy night, one way or another. But yeah, he absolutely pushed me right to the limit. And you know, I don't want to sound like arrogant or anything, but there is elements of Keane that remind me of me when I was younger. You know, back when I could do a lot more.
Yeah.
My body won't allow me to anymore. But the thing with Kane, I what really gets me with Kane, what I appreciate about his mentality is his never say die. Um, like he'll just keep fighting and
Yeah.
fighting, fighting on until he can't fight anymore. And I've like that's something I've always prided myself on, and I respect that when I see it as well. So yeah, absolute massive shout out to Keane Noonan. He's definitely one to watch, and I would imagine somewhere through all the different promotions that he works for now, some point in 2024, this is going to be his breakout year. He's gonna have gold. He's gonna have bigger matches, bigger opportunities, and yeah, the world is ready. Well, Keane is ready to start taking on the world. Um, he's like essentially he's like Jay
Yeah.
or Danny Cross.
Yeah.
It's like the next variation or the next evolution. It's like you see Keane and Danny, and like I had I had a hand in helping Danny at the start of his training journey. Of a little bit of a hand helping Keane in his training journey. Like again, I don't want to take any sort of credit for him, but he's always one of those uh, that's willing to come up and ask for opinions or feedback or anything like that. And sometimes people are a bit, sometimes trainees are a bit wary to ask. They don't want to bother you or they don't want to pester anybody. Like if you've been there for a while, but I'm fairly open when it comes to that, and Keane's never shied away from asking. And again, it's nice to feel appreciated, but it's also nice when you give someone feedback and then you see them implement it as well. And Keane, he's not only incredibly physically gifted, but like he's got a good head for it as well now. And he's getting so much better as time goes on. So like I was delighted, challenged, physically challenged, but delighted that it was Keane that I got to be in the ring with.
So I want to kind of go into a bit of the story, your Hard Knock story, and how we got to where we are. Like I want to peel back just the curtain a little bit. And hopefully I get in trouble for this, but we were doing an interview with Leonard after what show is it? Carmel Celebrations, and he had announced that match on the interview, and I was like, I'm so happy because trust me, no one goes crazier for Hard Knocks Terry Thatcher than I do, and I was like, I really like as much as I'm like, God, that's so cool for us. I'm like, I really wish that didn't happen because imagine the pop if nobody knew. So I got text then about 2 weeks later being like, oh hey, match is off. Can you take it out? I was like, fuck, match is off. I really wanted to see Terry back. So went into Hard Knocks. It was like, it's not happening. And when I don't know why I don't know why people are giving out about like the theme song change, because especially for that night when you're there looking at the Titantron, you're there, who the fuck is this? And then for it to swipe Terry Thatcher, I popped so damn hard, and I looked over at Leon as well. I went, "You fucking bastard! You told me he wasn't here."
You got all of us, like.
Oh my god! But so like, I was like, "Fuck, Terry's not fucking coming up just to get that moment." Then as well, I was like, "Oh, even better." Even I said to you afterwards, "When you bastard, you got me."
And, like I said, we kept it kind of close to the vest. I think I had said it to Leon. I was like, maybe let's keep this a surprise because I'm changing my music as well. And he was all like you said, he was all planning to announce it, and I think Keane and he even filmed a promo to call me out or something. But yeah, just I thought it would be a nice way of switching it, and it was kind of cool. When I was talking to Joe about coming back for the Rumble, and I mentioned about having new music, and he was a bit like, I don't know, like your all your OG music is like people recognize that. Are you gonna lose a pop if you don't use something that they're gonna remember? And I sent him the clip from Hard Knocks of me coming out and just and I had the starting of the video and all, and just the graphic, my name coming up just as the beat drops, and he was like, "Yeah, that might work."
That's the best thing about wrestling, though, is when you're like, because you go through the motions. Like, first you're like, who the fuck is this? And then you're
Mm.
like, who the fuck really is this? And then when you're like, oh my god, I know that person, they're back. Everything, you just get taken over, and you're like, holy fuck. I was like, I wish we got that with a Rumble, though, because I, like, obviously, we've been to Hard Knocks. Once we saw
Yeah,
the static, it was like, he's back, here he comes. And you hear everyone else do exactly what we did at Hard Knocks. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
I
love
think
it.
that was the cool thing about the Rumble though, is because you had that like opening start, and the people who knew from Hard Knocks were all like, "Oh yes, it's Terry's back." And then there
Mm.
was kind of a little bit of a lull, and then as you said, as the name flashed, everyone was like, "Yes, it's Terry." So it was kind of cool to see that kind of like in between.
Yeah. No, I am. I'm happy with it, and a lot of folks backstage were just like, by the way, new music's fucking awesome. So, yeah, I think it's a good choice. And like again, like I'll always have that. I'll always be able to utilize that in like promos and stuff like that, and say and like take lines from the old song or from the original song from Human and implement them in promos because anyone who's been around will know what I mean when I say, I'm only human after all, or maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm more than human. So
So,
right now, that's how I feel. Like I'm more than human. Now I'm unbreakable because people have tried. Noah tried. And yeah, he got a few licks in, but still here. Still one piece. Still going. Fucking 18 years in. Bigger men have tried, bigger men have failed. And Noah, I know him. I know him from working in the detachment. He doesn't have it in it. He doesn't have it in him to break me. And when the time comes, he's gonna find out. He's gonna find out exactly why I was the leader of the detachment, why I brought him in, and why I am still the leader. I'm still the top dog.
so I want to talk about the story now leading into March 10th and go
Can
back.
I actually can I pause you for a second? I
Yeah, we're
actually want
good.
to go back a little bit further before we go
Oh,
to that,
jeez.
because there's one match I want to talk about. We had you on. It was about a year ago this week.
1 year and a week.
Um, Coming up
Hmm.
to the J match, but it's not even the J match I want to talk about. It's the match against Butch Armstrong.
Yeah,
There
that's
was so much going into that match of you trying to get like Butch to stop with all the fun and games and actually have a serious match.
Hmm.
And then to have that dive off the balcony to kick it off and the battle that you two of you had during that whole match. Like, talk to us about that match.
Uh, yeah, that was a little weird little scenario that we found ourselves in, and that because like I've known Butch for years, and we spoke about it openly as well. Like I've always been cool with Butch, and like same again, like Butch is one of those that like he will come up and he'll ask for advice and he'll ask for feedback, and I'm always open with him and try to be as honest with him. If I have any critiques, then it will be constructive. It would never be like, oh, this is shit, don't do that. No, it would be like, okay, well, like maybe do it this way or this way. And Butch was always receptive of it. But like, it's not like we were ever super tight or anything. Like we were cool when we were at shows. We would see each other occasionally at training. But like we'd never been in the ring together or anything. We'd never tagged. We never faced each other. So like the end of that match with Jay, and same again. getting beat down by both members of the draw, and all of a sudden Butch comes out, and I I was glad he was there. Don't get me wrong, but I was just surprised more than anything else. And of course, he had ulterior motives, and cool, fair enough. You want to step up, grand. Pulled him in, and I just said, look, you sh if you're gonna do this, take it seriously. And he took that to heart.
Yeah.
He really did, and I'm glad in hindsight because it brought out a completely different side of Butch. It brought out like just a very, very serious side. So I was happy. Like again, I'm not trying not to take credit for it, but like I do feel like I kind of pushed him in that direction, and he did start taking himself seriously. And like Butch is a genuinely funny dude, but he's also a fucking tank as well. Like he can go. He can really go. But yeah, just as again, hindsight being what it is, as happy as I was to see him, I wasn't very happy getting put through a table. So like, and I'm just every time, every show up until that point, it was same story, different day. I was Terry Thatcher getting jumped from behind, and I was just okay. I'm done doing this. I'm fed up with doing this. So turn the tables a little bit. I'm gonna attack him from behind, and I chose the most spectacular way possible to do so by coming from the balcony. Because like even back in the day when OTT used to run Dolan's, everybody when they walk in, they look at that balcony and go, "I wonder if I could die from that." So I was so happy, like, because so many of us have climbed up on the ledge and we've done things from the ledge, and nobody's come from the actual balcony. And yeah, I was delighted with that. It's a moment in time that I don't think I'll ever forget because like doing that and having that that was one thing though, having that big entrance, because I only found out on the day that We Come in Pieces were going to be playing me to the
Mm.
ring. And I've never had that before. Well, no, that's a lie. I did have some dude rapping me to the ring back in the day, but same again. I met him on the day, had no idea what he was singing. It was just okay. Um, but yeah, I found out on the day, like we get in and the lads are rehearsing, and then I hear them playing Human, and I was like, "Fuck is this?" And Leon's, "Oh yeah, they're gonna play you to the ring." I was like, "Oh."
And I'm
I'm
not walking.
I'm not gonna be walking to the ring. I'm gonna be coming from somewhere else. Um, so as cool as it would have been to come out and like rock out with the lads while there's a live band, like proper going to town. As cool as that would have been, the moment of jumping out of the balcony, I think might supersede it just a little. And like having the lads come around in the hoodies and all, and just really, really cool entrance, and like them coming out and keeping Butch focused on them so I can come from the top was yeah, maybe a little underhanded or cheeky, but like I said, I was just tired of getting jumped from behind. So if everybody's gonna do it to me, then fuck it. Then now it's my turn. And like I said, just choose the most spectacular way to do it. Fuck me. Jumping from that balcony, I felt like watching it back, and it lasts for a few seconds, but it felt like I was in the air for so long coming from that height. And yeah, it was just thankfully I was grand. I did get a warning before I left that morning, just like don't do anything stupid. Uh, so she wasn't happy when those videos started surfacing. It was like, what the fuck?
we had a
Don't do
deal.
anything stupid. That looks pretty fucking stupid. But yeah, like I'm gonna make an entrance. That's one way to do it. But yeah, no, and like looking back at that match, like I said, I'm very proud of it. I'm proud of myself for what I did, but I'm incredibly proud of Butch for stepping up, taking an opportunity like this seriously. And he really did. He did everything he could. Unfortunately, on the night, it wasn't enough. But he's itching for a round two, and I'll absolutely have no issues going to war with Butch again.
And look, if people are sitting here listening to this and you haven't watched that match, because that is, I hate that it's not even a nominee for Match of the Year. It is the Hard Knocks Match of the Year. Hard Knocks Undisputed, I believe. Terry Thatcher, Butch, YouTube, Hard Knocks Pro Wrestling. Go check it out, because like they battled each other and the respect was earned at the very end of the show. So please go check that out. I even said to Butch, I said, look, that's Match of the Year.
It was certainly one that I was incredibly proud of. I really, really was. Yeah, but like I walked out with the championship, but I also walked out with a bit of respect. So I was happy out with that.
So, Carol, before I go moving on to the story, do you have anything you want to throw? No. So, March 10th, obviously, we're heading into Terry Thatcher, Sammy D. And the story between you two goes as far back as the first show. You know, the inaugural championship match was you and Sam, with you coming out on top. Obviously, as we mentioned, you had Jay come in and challenge for the title at one point. Again, as Carmo said, that was announced when you came on here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to keep plugging that till the day I die. Jay coming in, but again, still Sam got involved at the very end of that match as well. You know, you have an unbelievable run as the Hard Knocks World Champion. As you said, you had to step down for a little bit of time, and Sam, in that time, stepped up, became the world champion, and we're right back a year and a bit later. It's you and Sam. It's Hard Knocks World Champion versus the real Hard Knocks World Champion. One of you's walking out as the Hard Knocks Undisputed Heavyweight Champion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, this is quite possibly this could be the biggest match in Hard Knocks in Hard Knocks history. It certainly, like, it's got all the elements to it. You got the original, the Force champion, and now the replacement champion. And look, I'm not gonna sit here and try and knock on Sam. Sam is on the run of a lifetime. He's everywhere. He's top dog everywhere he goes. Except Hard Knocks. He's just as good as Sam is. Like, when it comes to Hard Knocks, I'm still the man there. And until he beats me, he can't take that. He can't take that. He cannot be the man there until he beats me. I think I've set that out. I've established, like, there's myself, there's Sam, there's Steve. Like, we've all done as much as we physically can to put Hard Knocks on the map, to separate Hard Knocks from everybody else, to drill that home that it's not just a tagline. Hard Knocks does actually hit different. But you know, I wouldn't be true to myself if I don't consider myself the top guy, and not just because I was the Force champion. It's because every time I'm there, I hit different. I'm on a different level when I'm in a Hard Knocks ring. Um, and the thing with Sam is, I know the way he's presumed now, like everybody has kind of got on board with Sam, and the fans are coming around to Sam, and he's getting on board with the fans as well. So like this match will be different from our first time around in Hard Knocks. It will be different because it won't be like the fans are on my side 100%. Like it's going to be a bit more of a 50-50. But I will still look at Sam the same way I did when we first met. He's called a snake for a reason. I the fan, like everybody might be on board on it. I respect the hell out of Sam. I don't personally like him though, because the way he goes about his business is a bit different from how I do. We just have like just a bit of a clash in ideologies in that way. So I'm gonna expect the worst from Sam. I'm gonna hope for the best, but I'm gonna expect the worst. Um, but I can't sit here and guarantee that I'm gonna walk out with both belts. I am going to do everything I physically, humanly can to assure that does happen. That I'm the one walking out. That I'm not me calling myself, you know, unbeatable, unbeaten, unbroken, undisputed. Again, not a tagline. And I beat Sam. I hold those two belts up. That's a stamp of approval. That's me saying I'm not lying when I'm saying I'm undisputed. It's all come to this, really. This is what it all boils down to. This. It started with me and Sam, finishes with me and Sam, and I see that this show is gonna be it's gonna have the introduction of the hardcore belt as well. Cool, let that take precedent. Me and Sam, we're gonna open the show. We ended the fourth show. We're gonna open this show, and we're gonna settle this. We're gonna settle it once and for all. Which one is the real Hard Knocks champion? And like I said, I'd be lying to myself if I didn't say that I feel I am the real Hard Knocks Pro Wrestling champion. And Sam, good as he is, when it comes to Hard Knocks, Terry Thatcher hits different.
And look, I'm gonna be for the first time on the podcast, I'm gonna be very bold and ask you this, because obviously, like you said with Sam, and I feel like it's with everyone in Hard Knocks. Everyone is like everyone's different compared to where they are before. Like we've seen the run at Jupe and all, but also thinking as well, like you talked about Steve Savage there, a very good friend of yours. The same night you beat Jay is the same night Sam, for that moment in time, took Steve Savage out of the picture and made sure he couldn't wrestle in Limerick again. We know that's the side of Sam that's going to come in on March 10th. We've seen the multiple different sides of Terry Thatcher where you will not die. What side of Terry Thatcher are we going to get come March 10th?
The exact same. I'm going to go in and do what I do best. I'm going to go in and do what I've always done when it comes to Hard Knocks. Probably going to take a beating, but, what else is new? But, yeah, I'm going to do everything that I physically can, everything that I humanly can to make sure that my hand is raised, my other hand is raised, and in both of those hands, have a big championship belt. Because, it's the reason I'm there. It's the reason I went to Hard Knocks. And it's the reason I keep coming back. It's because they gave me an opportunity that I was at the time I desperately needed. And I stepped up. I feel like I stepped up. I stepped up on every occasion and afterwards. And this will be the biggest match in Hard Knocks history. It will be a massive match for me because, like I said, I'm fully aware of the run that Sammy D is on. I am fully aware of how good he is. Me and Sam, we do go way back, but we're still here because we're pillars of the Irish wrestling scene. So yeah, I like I said, I'm not gonna be bold enough to sit here and guarantee a victory, but I am gonna guarantee it's gonna be one hell of a match, and there will be no questions. I'm coming in. I'm coming in alone. I'm doing what I should do. Hope Sam does the same and he doesn't decide to go back to his old ways. But one way or another, we're gonna settle this. There will be one undisputed Hard Knocks Pro Wrestling Champion. And you're looking at him.
Might as well do a quick plug. Hard Knocks.
I was going to say, I don't have a poster. Go to the plug.
Hard Knocks WarZone, March 10th. Hard Knocks have had some massive shows in the year and a bit that they've been around. This is shaping up to be the biggest out of all of them. Be sure to get your tickets.
Now,
you don't want to miss this.
Before I move on to some fan questions here, Carmo, do you have any questions that you want to ask?
I'll go for the fan questions. If I've anything left, I'm still reeling over that. I'm very excited for this match. Very excited. The fact that it's opening the show as well is just
so I put out an Instagram asking a few fan questions, and we've got some questions for you here. Now, one question in regards to OTT and Noah Walker comes: is Noah Walker okay after the Rumble beatdown?
I don't know. I didn't stop to ask. I do have. I don't know if you can see that my knuckles. Yeah, that's Noah Walker's skull. He's got a big head. He's got a really big head. And like, yeah, he has the dreadlocks in, and I'm guessing that's for padding. But yeah, I caught him square in the forehead at some point. So yeah, I'm at the doing in my knuckle. I'm okay, but yeah, it's just a bit swollen. But yeah. Yeah, like I said, I didn't stop and ask him how he was feeling. I'm hoping he's sore. I'm hoping he's hooked.
Another question coming in as well. If there's one match in your career that you feel is underrated, what match would it be?
I don't know. Like I've had a few ones that kind of flew under the radar. Really like, you know what? I really liked being in the ring with Leighton Buzzard last year.
Yeah.
Hadn't really met Leighton. I'd seen some of his stuff, but he is just so smooth at everything that he does. He's so good. Another one from way back in the day is actually a CCW show. This is a weird one. I was involved in a casket match back in the day when I was Irish Dragon for CCW. I think it's actually still available on YouTube somewhere. But it's me and a big lad called the Executioner. He was very large. That casket was not very large, but somehow I managed to get him in there. It's just one of those weird ones where like there was kind of low expectations for the match, and I think we over delivered. It was way better than I had any right to be. But I personally really enjoyed that one. Yeah, no, there's been loads of different matches that were that weren't recorded or were recorded and then somehow have just been lost to time. Like the majority of my DCW run had some really fun matches in there. But like, you know, any of the matches that any of the times I got to share the ring with Ryan Smile, unfortunately are now just lost to time. But yeah, like there's been plenty. Like I really like my run in Phoenix. There's some really cool little bangers in there. So again, some of them are available on YouTube if you look up either Phoenix or RCW. There's Rebel County Wrestling. You might find some of them there. But yeah, no, that casket match is that's one. Like I said, it had absolutely no right being as good as it was, but like I enjoyed it. It was so much fun. But yeah, that they're a couple that spring to mind.
Um, Another one is there anyone you can see being a breakout star in 2024?
Oh, plenty, plenty. I can see, as we said earlier, Keane Noonan. I see big things for Boots Murphy. He's already made a hell of an impression, like with the All Ireland Championship. He just there over the weekend he challenged for the NLW Nationwide Championship um in NLW Forced Impact in Nice. So like he's already making major waves. He had a great showing at the OTT Rumble. Um, yeah, there's big things coming from him. Um, I'm not gonna say Renzo because I think he's already there. Um, Jay Steins actually, there's one that I think is going to have a massive 2024. Look, like he's got the character, like the Compton gimmick, we'll say,
Gangland.
but yeah, Gangland, sorry. But Jay is actually do not let his looks deceive you. Do not let the character deceive you. Jay is one of those that he's down a Fight Factory. He's on the mats every every day, basically. Like he's a proper pillar of their locker room, of the Fight Factory locker room. I definitely think he's gonna have a massive year. Um, there are a couple of others like Con Kelly actually.
Yeah,
Uh, Con Kelly, there's a lad. I talked earlier about like Keen, like getting little nuggets of like kind of reminders of me with Keen. Con reminds me of me of like my entire run in OTT. He's just so intense all the time. Whenever he steps into the ring, he is so intense. And like Con was one of those that he was at like when I was doing my Sunday classes back in main stage, he was there every week. I've seen Con grow and grow and grow, and it's just he's waiting for a moment. He's waiting for one moment to really show everybody what he can do. Um, Personally, I'd love to give him that moment. I'd love to get in the ring with Con. Like we've trained together, we've wrestled together. We've never been in a match on a show or anything, but I'm fully aware of how good he is, how physical he is, and I think we'd have a banger. I honestly do, and I would love to use whatever equity my name has and try and elevate him in that sense. But yeah, like Con's definitely one of those that like he just needs one moment to stand out and he'll break out.
So before I ask the next questions, because the last question I'll give to you, Carmel, if you've got your phone there next to you, because I refuse to answer any question by this man. But before we get to that one, is there any dream matches left?
Maxer,
That's never happened.
never, not once. We've never had a tag match. We've never had a rumble. We've never been in any sort of a multi-man. We've barely ever touched in even in training. Somehow we've just managed to, like, all these years, we've just managed to be like ships in the night and just pass each other all the time. I've never gotten that opportunity. I would absolutely love to be in the ring with Maxer. Maxer is one of those that, like, he's one that he somehow has always been so good and yet still underrated. As, like, everyone knows how good he is, but yet somehow he's still not enough people know how good he is, or treat him with the respect that, like, a guy of his stature should have. Like, I I love Maxer. I love watching Maxer walk. But yeah, like, I don't know how it happened. I don't know why, but for some reason we've just never touched. And I would like, hopefully, at some point this year, to rectify that. Um, Other than that, like, I don't know. Uh, I'm sure I had a few, like, if it was ever possible, Darby Allen, just to see which one
Ooh.
of us, like, which one of us dies first. I think that'd be fun.
Who breaks? That's literally the whole thing of the match. Loser is the first person to break their back.
Yeah, first guy to die loses.
But you know where that match should be booked? Hard Knocks. Terry
Yeah,
Thatcher versus Shawn Michaels. Booked in Hard Knocks.
absolutely.
Now, surely some mother listen to this now. They're going, that's getting
Hopefully,
booked for the next show.
hopefully, like, fingers crossed, somebody gets the finger out.
Our next and I believe last question
Yeah.
comes from the legitimate Calacini. What about Hard Knocks makes it different from where you have worked before?
Um, it's just I think it's just the atmosphere. I think it's the like, it is very, you do get those old school kind of Tivoli vibes of, like, you're wrestling in like in the middle of a bar. Um and it's just that cool idea of, like, anything can happen on these shows as well. Um like, there's so many characters like Galaccini, like the Step Hermanos, that they're taking a lot of the inspiration from these kind of outlandish characters, but they're making it uniquely part of Hard Knocks, like, uniquely Limerick.
Yeah.
Those characters are uniquely Limerick, and yeah, like, I know Galaccini is walking up and down the country, but, like, the it's different than when he's in Limerick City, when he's in Hard Knocks. It really is. But yeah, the atmosphere in the locker room is it's really, really inviting. Like I was saying earlier, like, coming back and having so many, like, having that reaction from the crowd, but then getting, like, such a warm welcome from everybody backstage. And, we all know each other. We're traveling up and down the country, as I said, like, through different promotions, but, like, getting everybody there in that one locker room, and it's like picking the best from all the different places, all converging in one spot. Um, and you can just, when you're talking to Steve and you're talking to Leon, and you can just feel that like their passion for everything that they do, um, everything involved in Hard Knocks. Like, Steve lives, eats, and breathes Hard Knocks. Like, everything about him is Hard Knocks, and you can tell just from speaking to him. You can tell from listening to him. Like, when he goes out, like, he'll have those matches, and he'll go out and he'll speak to the crowd afterwards. He'll grab it. He'll get on the mic. That's 100%. That's what he's feeling at the time. That is 100% what he feels whenever it comes to that promotion. And when we in the locker room, we hear him say those kind of words in front of the crowds, and it bigs us up as well. Then it's just like, shit, this lad, like I said, like he lives for this. Like it's everything to him. And it does make you feel like you want to go out and then fight for him as well. Because he's putting so much into this that you want to give back to him as well and show that like, he's not doing this for nothing. And like, the promoter game, it's not an easy game. It's not always a financially beneficial game. So again that this whole thing is run on passion, it's run on heart. Um, and it makes you want to do as much as possible to give back to him to make sure that like we're all holding up our end of the bargain. So yeah, that's what I love about Hard Knocks.
That's brilliant. I think I love like Steve is always wrestling is always on the brain. So I love that about him. I need to fucking sit that man down and just pick his fucking brain on an interview one day. But that's all the fan questions, which brilliant one to end out on. Before we start wrapping things up, Carmo, one more time, what should people do for March 10th?
March 10th, Hard Knocks WarZone. Yeah. As I said, Hard Knocks have had many, many big shows in the last year, the bit that they've been around. This is shaping up to be the biggest one yet. We're going to finally get our undisputed Hard Knocks world champion, Terry Thatcher, Sammy D. Get your tickets. Be there.
On top of that, then as well, you've also got like the debut of Jordan Oliver taking on Steve Savage for the brand new Hard Knocks Hardcore Championship. You've also got a three-way tag team match with the Social Elite, the Freshness, the Step Hermanos, and that's 3 matches so far. 3 major matches. Any 3 of them could be main event. But yeah, me and Sam, we're gonna open the show. We're gonna answer the question. One of us will be walking away as the Hard Knocks Pro Wrestling Undisputed Champion. Ugh. And I got one shoulder, and my left is feeling a little empty. So roll on March 10th.
Well,
walking away with 2 of these babies.
Terry, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on. We do this for every interview. A few minutes there to plug whatever you want to plug. Talk about whatever you want to talk about. This is your
Socials,
time.
anything.
Yeah. Well, you can find me on Twitter. Just search Detached. I've recently just decided to get on Instagram, so you can find me there as well under Detached. Yeah, look, we've got shows coming up. We've got OTT here coming. I've got some shows coming up at the start of March. March 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's OTT Gaff Party from the Red Cow, and the next day in Belfast. They've also got the show in Wolverhampton as well on the Friday. So yeah, there's some big shows coming up for OTT. As we just discussed, Hard Knocks, March 10th. That'll be quite possibly the biggest show in Hard Knocks history. Certainly one of the biggest matches in Hard Knocks history. Me, Terry Thatcher versus Sammy D, Undisputed Championship. Gonna be massive. It's gonna be big. Tickets are on sale for all of those shows right now. Make sure you get there because, like we were saying earlier, it's cool to watch the shows online, OTT on demand or YouTube. Much different when you're there in person. It's so much different when you're in person. So yeah, if anybody listening to this, if you haven't been, make it a goal at some point this year, preferably March 10th, get to Dolan's Warehouse, get to Limerick City, get to a Hard Knock show. You will find out, you will realise that it genuinely does. It hits different.
And follow our socials as well. FiveMarks Podcast, FiveMarks Pod on Twitter and what's it called? TikTok. As well, follow the Weekly Controversies, Weekly Controversy _2 on Instagram. and Weekly Controversy, the FiveMarks Weekly Controversies on Spotify. And as Terry said there, look, if you are thinking of going March 10th, don't think, because Hard Knox shows sell out. Get your tickets ASAP, because this one's going to be no different. Don't want to miss out what's going down in Dolan's. Terry, thank you so much for coming on. We obviously wish you the best of luck going into March 10th.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Carmo, this
Thanks
is
for having
your
us.
time.
Yeah, Terry, thank you so much. Pleasure as always, and can't wait to see you in that match against Sam. But ladies and gentlemen, for another week, we are the FiveMarks Podcast, and we are officially ding, ding, done.
Yeah.